Oh, 5. 5? Oh, 5. Is it? Yes. You know what? I don't want the whole thing taped because we're going to run out of batteries. It's good, Matthew.
Wait, I want to do one thing.
Huh?
I'm trying to get the O2 flying away.
Don't waste it on that.
There it is. Oh, wait, I got it. Okay, I'm going to. I'm just going to look over the whole van. Wait, I'm about to. Yep. Almost looking over the entire.
That's why I don't want to do this.
There.
Time, we'll be bringing our student speakers to the front. Our first student speaker today is the class president from the class of 2005, Mika Wharton.
No, thank you.
Morning, afternoon. I'd like to apologize for my voice first. I came down with laryngitis yesterday, so you'll have to work with me. Okay. In every speech, we try to say something profound or teach a lesson, but all I can experience, what I've learned. Maybe there's some of the same things that you've learned and experienced, and maybe they're not. But here's my letter to you. Dear class of 2005, sometimes a story is the best way to say something you can't explain. So here's one of my favorites. 15 years ago, I was taking the train to work with my mother, and she was late. So as soon as we got to our stop, she picked me up and ran up the stairs. I cried the whole way up. So when we got to the top, she asked me what was wrong, and I looked up at her and I said, "Do it, self." So I walked all the way down the stairs and back up again by myself. And here we are at our high school graduation, ready to do it self. We're not going to have people to carry us anymore. We have to overcome each obstacle on our own without being pushed and reminded by our teachers and parents. I think we're prepared to do that because of what we've learned here at Malden High. Our education has been about so much more than historical dates, math equations, and scientific theories. Each day has been a lesson, each student a teacher. Some lessons were hard learned, and others came easy. There are some things that we may regret, and others that we're thankful for. But with every experience came a lesson. We've learned about building relationships, appreciating friends, appreciating life. We've learned the true meaning of being a family. We've learned about overcoming fears, overcoming prejudices, and we've learned how to respect and embrace diversity. We've learned so many things about each other and about ourselves. I know I have. I want to thank you for challenging me, for forcing me to grow, for making me who I am, because I've never been so content with that. I know myself better than I ever have, and I owe it all to you. I hope you know what you've done for me and what you've done for each other. So now, loaded with knowledge and wisdom, we are ready to take on the world. So let's go do it self together. You are forever a part of my life and a part of my soul. No amount of distance or time could ever change that. So thanks again. With love, your president, Mika.
Good friend of Adam.
Thank you, Mika. Next up, the class orator, Mikhail Druv.
Greetings, fellow students, for we are all students, parents, teachers, graduates, and administrators alike, constantly seeking knowledge and learning from the world around us. Okay, I promise that's the only cheesy metaphor I'll use today. My name is Jennifer Newman, and I'm the valedictorian of the senior class. For the last 12 years, I have been a student in the Malden public school system. Over these years, I've learned many things in my classes. For example, this year in physics, I learned that if a sled weighing 60 newtons is pulled horizontally across snow, carrying a penguin weighing 70 newtons, and the coefficient of kinetic friction between sled and snow is 0.1, and the coefficient of static friction between penguin and sled is 0.7, the maximum horizontal force that can be exerted on the sled before the penguin begins to slide off is 49 newtons. That's page 111, number 60. And in English this year, I learned that when writing a critical essay on a work of literature, quote, it's all about the meaning, baby. However, just as important were the things I learned outside of the classroom as a result of my decisions and mistakes. My freshman year, I made many mistakes. One of these involved going to the wrong lunch. I had Mr. Goulding, period 5 for science. You'd think that since Mr. Goulding was in the B building with all the other science teachers, our class would take first lunch. But apparently, since Mr. Goulding was a C house teacher, he took second lunch. Luckily, most of my class had made the same mistake. We went up to science, sorted out all the confusion, and got to take 2 lunches that day. The next week, I made the same mistake again. Sitting at lunch and casually eating my taco, I noticed a conspicuous lack of honors integrated science students. No Emily, no Sean, no hope for me, really. What was I supposed to do? Run away? Transfer to a different school system? I walked into my science class 30 minutes late, blushed and embarrassed, apologized, and quietly took my seat among 30 staring freshmen. From this experience, I learned that it's important to own up to your mistakes, whether you overslept and missed the first half of your psychology class, or forgot to finish that presentation for work. With any luck, your professor or supervisor will be reasonable and quickly forgive you. You should be mindful of other people when they make mistakes, for to err is human, but to forgive is divine. Throughout my life, I have been in dozens of performances. In performances, as in live television, things are apt to go wrong. What I remember most are not the wonderful perfections, those things that just seem to click on show night, but the screw-ups, the imperfections which took us by storm and taught us how to improvise and keep the show going. For example, in my most recent play, there was a problem with the sound system. One of the actresses was supposed to snap her fingers, and the song She's a Brick House was supposed to play. She snapped, and nothing happened. She snapped again, still nothing. So instead of waiting for a song that would never play, all the expectant actors on stage burst into song and performed a stunning rendition of She's a Brick House. This is only one of the many unplanned events that have occurred during performances I've been in. I've learned that when things don't go your way, you have to improvise and work with what you have. Making choices is difficult, but it's often very rewarding when you make the right one. I've learned that even if you think you've made the right choice, it's never too late to change your mind. At the beginning of this year, I was feeling very pressured to take an extra advanced placement class. About a month into school, I made the decision to drop play production, a class I'd been very excited to take, and replace it with AP European History. I knew that this extra AP class would make me look better to colleges and help to secure my GPA and class rank. But the truth was, I really didn't like European history. Nothing against Miss Allen, of course. She seemed like a really awesome teacher. But my heart simply wasn't into it. After After a week of miserably doing my European history homework and wistfully walking by the auditorium during play production class, I decided to drop AP Euro and drop back into play production. I had an amazing year in play production. So what if my GPA could have been 0.02 of a point higher? I learned that you should always do things for yourself, and school really starts getting miserable when you take classes solely for the credits, instead of for the learning experience. Even if that really neat sounding class won't count toward your major, or you're not exactly a big fan of some of the other students, take the class anyway. You never know what direction it could take you in, and maybe you'll even become friends with those girls who sit in the back corner. To the class of 2005, so what if you barely passed Algebra 2 the second time around, or you weren't the star of the basketball team? As a famous man by the name of Albus Dumbledore said in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, "It is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities." No matter what your direction may be, there is a world of opportunity out there. It is up to you, the students, to take full advantage of these opportunities and learn from everything you do, whether it's attending college, working, joining the armed forces, or just hanging out. By somehow struggling through 4 years of high school, you have already made the choice to learn. In the next few years, you will be confronted with dozens of other choices. Among them, the choice to learn from your mistakes, the choice to forgive, and the choice to keep going even if things aren't going your way. But remember that no matter how many choices you make, they are never completely permanent, and it's perfectly okay to change your mind. I will conclude with an excerpt from Sources by Adrienne Rich. The faithful, drudging child, the child at the oak desk, whose penmanship, hard work, style will win her prizes, becomes the woman with a mission not to win prizes, but to change the laws of history. How she gets this mission is not clear. How the boundaries of perfection explode, leaving her cheekbone gray with smoke, a piece of hair singed off, her shirt spattered with earth. Say that she grew up in a house with talk of books, ideal societies. She is gripped by a blue, foreign air, a desert absolute, dragged by the roots of her own will into another scene of choices. Thank you, and good luck.
Year principal written about John.
Jennifer Newman.
Fareed Saba. Mikhail Drew. Mika Wharton. Lillian Wong. Rachel Ann Timmons. Lila Jean Joan Rossi. Ryan O'Malley. Janelle Daly. Catherine Nguyen.
Ready?
Adam Michael Weldi. Danielle Earl. Tora Renee Abate. Sarah Elizabeth Abreu. Suhair Abu Al-Saud.
Press the button.
Amina
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.